As Muslims, Islam plays an imperative part in our daily lives. While the Quran provides us with guidelines of how to practice our faith, the reality is our religion is deeply personal to each individual. There's no doubt that being in the public eye with circumstances unique to their careers, a Muslim athlete's faith is naturally intriguing to everyone. Perhaps one of the most exciting elements to explore is how athletes deal with fasting. During the month of Ramadan, we as Muslims are commanded by Allah to abstain from eating, drinking, from sexual relations, and then other things like displeasing speech and behavior that's going to distance us from God. And we do that from before dawn all the way until dusk. So while it's a beautiful month, there is no denying that the act of fasting can be a challenge, particularly if our livelihoods rely on intense physical exertion and athletic performance at the highest level.
What are the challenges of fasting as a professional athlete?
The challenge is, especially when it's hot, Ramadan in the summer, you cannot drink, so that's what you miss.
I feel it a lot if I haven't eaten, or especially water if I'm dehydrated. I really get affected a lot. Yeah, fainted a couple of times even.
It's extremely tough. I might do like so good in the training session, but I might be thirsty, I might be tired, I might be hungry.
Professional athletes, they need to be the best at what they do. And this is in terms of training, in terms of recovery, hydration, and nutrition. Fasting can impact all of these things. So if it's not done in the proper way, and if it is not planned, it can greatly reduce their energy availability and their performance, as well as their focus and their sleep and their recovery.
طبعا هنا الموضوع يعني صعب طبعا. الصيام هنا صعب انك الاوقات مختلفة، فطبعا انت اليوم بيبقى متشقلب، بالذات ان احنا كلاعب كورة انت لازم تتسحر، لازم تاكل كويس.
We don't fast just for the sake of fasting and for the losing weight. It's a lot deeper than that. It's a spiritual cleanse. You're cleansing your body. The country's not built around fasting, whereas in the Middle East, the whole country's built around it. So, you know, you're playing Championship, Premier League football, it's kick-off times are changing, day of the game's changing, training times are changing, days off. So that's part of the challenges, and when you come out of the month and you know you've achieved something, so it just makes it even the more worth it when you do come out at the other side of it.
There's obviously promotion. There we got promoted. So that was such a good day, man. Yeah, sick day.
Being the first Iraqi in history to play in the Premier League was like, wow.
Goosebumps, I just thought about it.
I was born in Iraq. I was raised in Liverpool. As soon as I drive back and see like the Liverpool signs, it does feel like home.
This is actually my primary school, so this is where I used to cause carnage.
It's like, wow. There's nowhere I'd rather be, to be honest, than Liverpool. My dad, he was part of a protest group in Iraq. You know, anti-government group against Saddam Hussein. He got put into prison. He's got scars all over him from being tortured. The way they actually got out was mad. There was an airstrike coming over. A lot of people escaped through that way. He just got on the first boat out that he could find. And then somehow I ended up in Toxteth in Liverpool. And then we followed like a year after he came. We moved into a council house. You know, I remember like my mum telling me, you know, there was days where like we genuinely didn't have no food in the house. Football for me was the healthy escape. Just watching football all day, every day. All my good memories, probably as a child, was football related. We used to just like close this black gate here, and then the green gate there, which is like the entrance to the school. Those used to be the goals. My dad would come off sometimes, play with us. But he's an old stiff man, so he didn't really take care of himself. Mum, I was telling him how many hours did I spend playing football here. It's just mad memories, like so much probably of my football development has come in this area here. Yeah. There was a period in secondary school I was quite, you know, racially abused. You know, I got called Packy every single day for a good maybe 2 years. I just always feeling a bit different in that sense to people, maybe trying to be somebody you're not to fit in. Like trying to hide the fact that I'm Muslim, trying to hide the fact that I'm Arab, my appearance, my clothes, everything, just to kind of fit in. For where we're living, this is unbelievable. It's one of the best things it's ever done for the community, to be honest, because it kept so many kids off the street. You know, I went through a period where I was doing bad things, bro. Like I was hanging out on the street with the wrong type of kids. What was weird was I'd still like do all my schoolwork. I still get good grades. I was still really good at football. But then I was kind of like living an alter ego life away from it. Like my parents didn't know about it. I had so many fights, arguments with people. That's why I think when I got to 16 and I did move away from home, it was just such a blessing in disguise. It was like, wow, I needed that, because if I would have stayed around, maybe like I could have took a different path. It's crazy, so many memories. A lot of the things I've learned about my religion and about Islam has been due to football, because being in my lowest moments has forced me to really explore it deeply. I went from trying to move to Swansea, spent 2 years there from 16 to 18. I was meant to go into Nottingham Forest, but then I went to Derby, and then I went into Bournemouth. That went horribly. I was just miles off it. No, I was somewhere different every couple of weeks. 1 minute I was back at home with my parents, then I was sleeping at my mate's house, whoever I knew in Nottingham, Derby. And I was asking friends for money, and I was just like feeling sorry for myself during that period. You just feel, you know, you feel worthless in a way. All these questions started coming up for me. Why am I Muslim? Why do I pray? Why do I believe in this stuff? Why is this wrong? Why is this right? And yeah, I was just forced to like explore different religions, read different texts, like read Muslim texts and see why I believe the things I did believe. I always found a way back to Islam. I think when you hit rock bottom, getting on the prayer mat and just letting everything out to God just made me feel better. I just don't think there's any other way I could have gotten through certain periods of my life without God, without praying. And then I started seeing positive change in my life, and I was able to deal with adversity a bit better. I've had probably 3 of my best months as a footballer during Ramadan. You're more focused, you're more present, you're more in touch with your feelings because your body's in a bit of a fight or flight mode. You really need food, so you get a heightened sense of focus, which makes you perform better. There's a chance to better yourself as a Muslim and as a human being. I know that I'm at a point now with my faith where it's like unbreakable. Like I'll never leave my religion again.
The referee should be...
You know, even though we're from different cultures, we're from different backgrounds, it shows that, you know, I respect you, you respect me.
دلوقتي بقى في وعي كبير انك في لعيبه صايمه فانت لازم تاخد بالك من اللعيبه.
I don't fight and fast because just in that month it's very dedicated to that particular thing. In one of my boxing contracts that we don't fight during fasting time.
Historically, we didn't see a lot of support for athletes that were fasting during competition. But recently, because the research has found that there's a lot of benefits, that's why we see that things have been catered more towards the environment for the athletes that are fasting. If the athletes have the support of the team and the admin staff and their sports dietitian, fasting can actually encourage them.
كان دايما عندي إيمان إن أنا أقدر أوصل وأكون بطل أولمبياد. كانش عندي شكوك إن أنا مش هقدر أعملها. إني نشأت في دولة إسلامية في دين إسلامي. الدين الإسلامي بيعلمنا كتير الالتزام، الصبر. أظن لعب دور كبير جدا في تكويني كشخصية والتزامي والإنجازات اللي وصلنا على مر السنين. طبعا بدأت من جده. أول ما في العيلة بدأوا رفع أثقال، وبعدين يجي بعدهم بابا. تمام. الوالد لعب 3 أولمبياد. بعدهم أخويا وابن عمي، وبعد كده يجي في الآخر أنا. الجميل عندنا إن إحنا هنا مش مرتبط بتمرين، ده مع التمرين انزل اتمرن وخلص تمرين. إحنا الموضوع دايما معمول كأسرة. الجميع بيشارك في تجهيز البطولات والتجهيز للجميع الإيفنتات اللي إحنا داخلين عليها. أظن 2012 الولد قعد معايا وقال لي إحنا هنبدأ تجهيزات للأولمبياد ريو، هنحاول إحنا نتأهل فيها، ممكن تتأهل وهتشارك وهتكون بشكل جميل ومشرف. ولكن طوكيو 2020 هتاخد الميدالية الذهبية.
أيوة، عال شوية كتافك كمان. أحسن. أيوة كده شغل حتى.
أظن كلمات الوالد فضلت معايا كتير. بالنسبة كمان إنك تكون لاعب رفع أثقال مستوى عالي، البرنامج بتاعك هو برنامج مشدد بالنسبة للنوم، بالنسبة للأكل، للصحيان، لمواعيد التدريب، كل شيء بمواعيد. لو أنت محتاج إنك توصل فعلا لمستوى عالي بيبقى صعب إن أنت تخرج بره المواعيد ديت. ودي بتقول يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم. ودي بتشجعنا على الصيام زي أجدادنا وأجداد أجدادنا. أظن مش بحاول أتفادى البطولات في رمضان، بالعكس بيكون الوضع أظن أكتر حماسية بالنسبة لي، إن أشوف قدراتي إزاي هقدر أنفذ في خلال الظروف ديت. مش صعوبة أكتر ما هو إزاي تأدبت على النوع حياة مختلف، في إزاي تنظم وقتك ومواعيد الشرب، إزاي تكون هايدريتد كفاية قبل كل تدريبة بعد كل تدريبة. ده شكل القهوة. توزيع التدريبات إنها ما تكونش تأثر على مستوى الجسم أو مستوى التدريب، وفي نفس الوقت تقدر تدي أعلى برفورمانس تقدر عليه. رمضان كان موجود عندنا من وسط 4 لوسط 5 في 2021، فتقريبا كان 2 إلى 3 شهور قبل الأولمبياد. قدرنا إن احنا ننظم وقتنا كويس جدا في رمضان دوت، وقدرنا نخرج منه أظن حتى بنتائج أفضل من العادي. هنا في محاولة الكلين 225 ده كان الرقم الأولمبي. طبعا في المحاولة الذهبية في طوكيو أظن كان كل اللي بيدور في راسي إن لازم أسويها بأي طريقة، بأي شكل، بأي تكنيك، بأي إمكانية، لازم أرفعها. إحساس إن بس بيني وبين الذهب، بيني وبين حلمي اللي اشتغلت عليه لمدة 8 سنوات، من أفضل ذكريات حياتي ومن أكتر الأشياء اللي أنا فخور بيها جدا في حياتي. الميدالية ديت يعني أنا لو بقسمها فأظن أنا هيكون لي جزء بسيط فيها، لأن الكل شارك فيها بمجهود كبير. دي جميلة. أنا ما عنديش الصورة دي. الصورة مع الوالد وإحنا بنحضن بعض. فرحته هو كمان كانت جميلة، وسعادته بالإنجاز اللي إحنا وصلنا ليه كان جميل جدا. حلوة أوي الصورة دي، أنا أول مرة أشوفها. محتاج الصورة دي. خلاني في منتهى الفخر والسعادة إني أكون أول ميدالية ذهبية في تاريخ قطر، يكون ده المسمى بتاعي حتى في المستقبل، إن لما يجي أجيال جديدة من الشعب القطري يتكلموا على الأولمبياد، هيكون أول كلمة عنهم أو أول ميدالية أولمبية بالنسبة لهم كان يملكها فارس إبراهيم. فأظن ده شيء هيخليني فخور إلى مدى الحياة.
What fasting does is, on the longer term, it helps the athletes gain a metabolic flexibility, which means that the body will start utilizing fat storage instead of the carbohydrate, which is something wonderful if you're an endurance athlete or if you are a team sport athlete and you have those short bouts of sprints or high intensity actions. And as well, there's research around the anti-inflammatory property of fasting, the autophagy, where some cells are destroyed that have a high rate of inflammation. So all in all, there are some documented benefits of fasting.
It gives you a sense of strength, that you can control your body. I really like that you are strong enough to not eat the entire day, not drink the entire day.
اللاعب المسلم قد فهم أن القوة الأصلية ليست دائما في القوة الفيزيائية في بدنه أو في مائه أو في شربه، لكن في قوة الإيمان التي تجعله لاعب مميز. والعلم كذلك يؤكد أن الصيام له تأثير مهم جدا على صفاء العقل، على تنظيف الجسم من التوكسين، يساعد على علاج القلق، يساعد على علاج بعض حالات الاكتئاب، يساعد على تثبيت المزاج، يساعد على القوة الذاتية ويقوي المناعة.
When you're not eating and you're feeling the pangs of hunger as well, it's like your mind has to really focus and your energy is not going to your body trying to digest food, it's going to other things. I still get comments today. Crouch! You're the first Muslim rugby player I've seen. Rugby's been going on for over 200 years. There's this phrase, if you can't see it, you can't be it.
And on her Premiership Women's Rugby debut, look at the smile. Zainab Alema. Well, her mantra is be bold, be brave, be a bulldozer.
I'm proving that it's possible to be who you are and still live life the way you want it.
Nice work, girls.
I was born early, born premature. I came almost as like a fighter. I fought to leave the hospital, and I feel like that's almost a theme within my journey, fighting for other things, whether it's a rugby pitch or just in day-to-day life. The first time I touched a rugby ball was when I was 14 years old. I remember ball in hand, running through people, and I just thought to myself, where's the sport been all my life? But where would a black Muslim woman living in a council estate find rugby? I do stand out because I dress modestly, but it's not a bad thing. I feel like it's a thing that allows me to take my religion with me everywhere. So if I'm not wearing it, then I feel exposed. Not just from outside people looking in, but almost feel a bit exposed from God's protection. I was definitely conscious of being a black Muslim woman within rugby, mainly because of just looking different. It was just playing on my mind whether or not this sport was for me. Sometimes I felt a bit sad that I couldn't bond with my teammates off pitch as well because it was just heavily alcohol based. And I almost left the sport. So I remember doing some research and it was there in black and white that you could wear head covering for religious reasons. And I thought, phew, okay, so this is good, you know, that means I can still wear my sports hijab and play, because some sports don't have that privilege. They can't wear the sports hijab to play sports. I just thought, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna make myself comfortable in this space and just see how it goes. There's a link between Islam and rugby. Rugby and the values, sportsmanship, respect, discipline, really huge cornerstone of the game in terms of values. And then you think about Islam, discipline is huge. The fact that you pray 5 times a day, the fact that you fast during Ramadan, it requires a lot of discipline, respect. If you're doing something that God's asked you to do, it's a form of worship. So any act, whether it's praying, wearing the hijab, fasting, they're all acts of worship. I find that, for example, when I'm fasting during Ramadan, I'm much more focused on anything that I'm doing. I know it sounds a bit wild, but I actually play better. We're here to worship Allah, so all the praying and the fasting.
I love that, that's fun.
If you're going to be the best version of yourself as a Muslim, you're going to do it during Ramadan. And it speaks to the power of that month. I feel like rugby is my thing, that God's given me to help inspire people.
1, 2, 3, Tigers! Yeah!
I just think it just makes sense that that was a thing that God gave me to fulfill other things in my life, but through my sport, yeah.
As Muslims, fasting can provide us with the opportunity to gain a sense of control over our needs and desires, to greater understand our purpose in life, and to concentrate on our relationship with Allah. And so while it provides obvious challenges, we see fasting can actually prove hugely beneficial for Muslim athletes. Fasting is central to Ramadan, but the holy month is about so much more. It's where all the elements of our faith are truly heightened.
رمضان طبعا بالنسبة لي لما أنا كنت بكبر كان من أحلى الأوقات.
During Ramadan, the mosques are totally full. You feel the energy.
It's a time to recognize the importance of our faith. So to truly know the role of Islam in the lives of Muslim athletes, we need to look at Ramadan through their eyes as they reflect on their religion.